Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle and I hope you're doing well. Hello Cassie. It's whipping up a storm outside, so you've got me in my house. We've already been out and it was horrible. So I've decided to record inside today. They're vying for position next to me on the couch, so if they're growling, then that's what it is. Okay, so we need to talk about Fred Hill. We need to talk about Ziggy's interview, well, conversation that she recorded with Fred Hill and his wife. And spoiler alert, I don't believe him. Right? I've said in several videos now that more and more people are going to come out of the woodwork, not just people who've been, getting themselves ingratiated into the Wells camp to find out information. We've had several of those, but now we're seeing people who actually knew the Wells come out and speak. We've had Dudley doing a couple of interviews. We've had Hunter's dad who's come out and spoken, who's now got his own YouTube channel to come out and speak. But the most recent is Fred Hill. Now, Fred Hill is the guy who he shot someone back in 2016. And he's the local meth head that Don talks about, or has talked about. Doesn't name him very often though. Fred Hill got away with shooting a guy because it was self-defense. So he's out, he's there, he's living it large there on Ben Hill Road. So for people who say, no, it's not him, he's in prison. No, he isn't. And he's not dead. His dad died recently. Fred Hill Sr. So Fred's the guy who has made it clear via a neighbour who spoke to the Heels on the Ground people that if Don mentions his name again, he's going to kill him. So he doesn't like Don. Allegedly. Fred's the guy who we talked about a couple of days ago now, who showed Ziggy a pile of bones and a supposed burn pile. Ziggy, rightly in my view, called it in to the feds anyway, to the TVI in Hawkins County. But I took one look at them and thought, that's animal bones. It's likely a bone, the limb bone, the long bone was probably a femur off a small deer. Femur's the thigh bone. And no way is that human. Fred has lived in and around those woods all his life. He will have seen a multitude of animal bones. All of us who live in rural areas see animal bones. It's not that unusual. Now, Ziggy probably rightly says that it wasn't a setup because Fred had no idea she was coming. Fair enough. But what Fred did know is that there was people from YouTube hanging around because the Heels on the Ground people had been there a week or so before. So it's my belief that Fred and perhaps other neighbours, perhaps including Don himself, Don and Candice, as we know, like to prank, don't they? So I think they knew those animal bones were there and they thought the next YouTuber who comes along sniffing around, right up in our business, we're going to show them these bones and we're going to make them believe that it's human. And that's exactly what happened. And Ziggy, unfortunately, was the victim of that, in my opinion. Now, Ziggy played, it was a long conversation that Fred and his wife had with her. And there's a whole lot of lies in there. Right? Look, if you've been following this case for any length of time, you will know that some of what he said was out and out wrong. For example, he said that Rose Bly was perhaps had been living at the Wells before she went missing. And he believed that she was part of the prostitution ring that they had going on there, because they had a sign up. Now, maybe he's mistaken. Maybe he's thinking that Rose Bly is someone else. But we absolutely know that Rose Bly, who is Candice's sister, was absolutely living 1,000 miles away in Wisconsin when she disappeared. We know that as fact, that she was living there. She wasn't living with the Wells. She wasn't a prostitute. So that's absolute nonsense. Is Fred mistaken and he's thinking of someone else? Possibly. Is it an out and out lie for YouTube? I believe it probably is, but it could be an honest mistake. Something Fred's wife did say that I think, well, yeah, this could be true, is that when Ziggy asked her what she thinks happened to Summer, Fred's wife said, I think Candice let something happen to her because she never cared about those young uns. And that's a conversation that a lot of people have had. Now, something that they did say, I was already suspicious. I was suspicious from the outset of what they were saying in this conversation. But I was even more suspicious when they said that they'd been watching YouTube. They'd been watching all of this unfolding. So they know what other people have been saying. So it's easy for them to now play into the most common kind of theories. And one of them is that Candice did something to Summer, or at least, at the very least, allow something to happen to Summer because she didn't love her kids. Fred went on to say that Candice had had 2 other girls, 2 other babies after Summer. So we know that Candice had 2 children from her first relationship with someone called Andrew. She had Andrew Jr. and Candice, who is Candice the third. And they're now both grown. They were taken off Candice. Andrew was 2, little Candice was 6 months, and they were adopted out. But we've also recently heard that she had another child well before she met Don, either before these 2 kids or just after these 2 kids. Don't know who the father is. People have asked me, I don't know. I don't know whether the father was Andrew or someone else. But that was a little girl who was adopted. Now Fred comes along and says that since Summer, she's had 2 girls who've been adopted. The most recent, only a couple of months before Summer got gone. Come on now, Fred. Do you think that we came down in the last shower? Because she just apparently went to hospital and had these kids without Don knowing. So do you think that Don would be able to live with Candice for 9 months and not know that she's pregnant? Twice. Come on now, Fred. Come on now, son. Come on now. We didn't come down with the last shower. There might be YouTubers who will believe that animal bones are possibly a small human. But who is going to believe that? Well, it concerns me that some people will believe that. That some people who are quite indiscriminate are going to take, once they've heard it, they're going to take some of this and they're going to run with it. The clip channels are going to run with it, and things are going to be made of it that just aren't true. And it doesn't matter whether Fred is having a laugh or he's mistaken or what. I mean, how does Fred know? How does Fred know that Candice went to the hospital to have babies in secret twice? How does Fred know? Come on now. How does Fred know but Don doesn't? Come on now. You know, dearie me. What else did he say? Oh yeah, he saw Don on the morning that Summer disappeared, and he's absolutely convinced of it, and maybe it was around 9:30. So at least Fred, you know, isn't vague with times. Is it true? We don't know. He also said he saw Jodie Sue's ex-partner, Andy, on the hill, on Ben Hill Road, around 3:30. So this is just as Summer and her mum and her grandma were getting home. right? They would have got home around 3:20 roughly. So Andy was there, not at work, as Jodie Sue has said. He was there on Ben Hill Road. Oh, and it just so happens that Jodie Sue's mother has a red truck. Do you think, Fred, that all of that won't have been investigated by the TBI? Don't you think that the movements of everybody, including you, Fred, on that afternoon has been looked at? They'll have had cell tower pings. They can get all the pings that happened on cell towers closest to the areas where they're interested in. Jodie Sue says Andy was at work all day on camera. Well, I'm a bit concerned that maybe on his trip home from work he wouldn't have been on camera, but you know, surely the TBI will have looked into his movements. They'll have looked into your movements as well, Fred. So although we can't take anything off the table, we can't disprove anything right now, and the people there on Ben Hill Road on that day are chief suspects, right, in everybody's eyes, including the feds. But don't you think by this time, by, you know, in 7 months, all of this won't have been investigated? So, there's a lot more, but I'm going to stop there. Because it's just getting really silly now. It's getting silly now that people who are coming out of the woodwork wanting to say their bit have been primed by 7 months of all of the stuff that's gone out on YouTube. It's easy now for people to prank. It's easy now for people to play in to the most popular theories. It's easy for people to lie. It's easy for people to twist the story. Why? Not necessarily because they're guilty and they're hiding anything, but just simply because they want to have some fun at the expense of YouTubers. Just like Fred, in my opinion, wanted to have some fun by making Ziggy believe that this pile of bones was that possibly of a small human. He would have known absolutely 100% that that was an animal skeleton. But it does concern me that people are going to take these details and run with them. Look, we don't know what happened to Summer. I think this case is going to come down to the digital evidence. I think it's going to come down to a whole pile of circumstantial evidence. And I think at the moment they're getting all the ducks in a row and they're running with the raft of digital evidence they've got. At least it will rule people out. At least it will rule whoever wasn't there, who's been implicated, including Don. It will rule them out because they weren't there. They weren't there. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been Michelle. I hope you're well. I'll see you in the next video, possibly outside. But if you're missing Cassie, she's here. Say goodbye. Oh, are you going to say goodbye? Bye, guys.